We're talking turtles, we're talking turtles. We're gonna have a radical time. So, welcome to Talkin Turtles. We're talking about Season 1, Episode 2.
Yeah.
I got a special guest with me today. Got cynical44 here.
Hey everyone.
The episode's called Enter the Shredder. Now we saw Shredder in the first one, so this is more of him, I guess you could say. I thought the episode started kind of strange, where they're just like sleeping and April wakes them up.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that it showed them without their masks, because I don't remember a whole lot of times that they don't have their little masks on, and I was kind of surprised by that. And then, yeah, they're just all hanging out like they've known April for years.
Yeah, I've always found it kind of disturbing when they didn't have their mask on for some reason.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. It's like seeing them naked or something.
I just thought it was strange because they didn't seem to be too worried about what happened the night before.
Yeah, and that episode picks up almost exactly right where the other one left off, as far as they're still talking about everything in the previous episode immediately. But yeah, at the same time, yeah, they're not concerned about it though.
But after some pizza, they finally go searching for the Technodrome.
Right.
And then that's when we finally get your first sight of the Technodrome.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool thing that the Technodrome, you know, like being as big as it is and as cool as it is. I mean, this is a little off subject or whatever, but I'm still like really in awe that they made that into a toy. I don't know if you ever had that or not, but I would love to see one of those up close.
No, I was looking at one online, but it was like $200, and I said no thank you.
Yeah, I imagine so. That would be my thought too.
Also, it's I believe the first appearance of Krang.
Yeah. Well, I think they show Krang slightly. Doesn't like Raphael or something run into him at the end of the first episode? But then he like doesn't know who he is or something? Like they just like, I don't know, maybe not. I was thinking maybe they do or something. But it's the first time you really get a true introduction.
They never entered the Technodrome.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah. I might be thinking of the episode that's after this one, when they actually, when the turtles run into Krang.
Michelangelo does.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Krang suggests that Shredder makes his own mutants, so he does.
Yeah. And that's a really funny scene too, when Krang kind of like hints to that idea, and then it's like it's the first time that Shredder's ever had that cross his mind. You would have thought that he would have thought of that a little quicker. And then the choices that he has are pretty funny, as far as like the most amazing animals he can think of.
Yeah, and then he takes the biggest idiots he has.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that's pretty funny, the whole thing where it says that you know, that the rat improved, you know, like Splinter or whatever, and then he thinks that, you know, like getting these animals are going to improve those guys. I think it would have been cool if Shredder would have just like gone hardcore and like went and like mutated himself with like a, you know, like an elephant or something. That would have been the smart way to go.
Pretty much during this whole time, the Splinter and the Turtles are looking for the Technodrome, and at the same time, Bebop and Rocksteady are stealing animals from the zoo, and then they get mutated. But they don't show them at this point.
Right. Well, yeah, like, don't they have like two little weird robots or something that like lasso that rhino or whatever?
Yes. Yep.
I love those little robots. I don't know what the hell they're called or whatever.
So April finally goes back to the was at the news station after being gone for like 2 days. And they give her the story of the zoo.
Yeah.
Which she doesn't care about until she figures out there's a hole in the ground.
Yeah, like she goes into the office and pretty much takes that story and says, you know, who cares? And then she goes right outside and tells the guy, she goes, I know where the Technodrome is. It like all of a sudden hits her somewhere between like when she's like, you know, just walking out the door.
Yeah. During the same time, Splinter gets caught and brought to the Technodrome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he gets caught
And
by
the
that
turtles.
same little robot.
Yep. So the turtles go in there, and there's like full of traps and robots.
Yeah, that's a cool scene. I like that one.
You get to see the little robots again. Well, they like talk.
Yeah. They always like say things that robots would never say, like when they're at the zoo, and they're like, "Sorry, have a nice day," and stuff like that. And you're like, why would a robot say that? They're all, like,
I think
apologetic.
Raphael stabs one in the head, and it says "ouch."
Yeah. And then they like kick him in that hole, and they're like, "You can't get rid of us that easy."
And then Shredder finally meets the turtles and explains how he made them and they should join him.
Yeah. That's a
It
pretty
was
cool
a neat
scene.
scene because, yeah, they were trying to figure out who made Splinter. And there he was.
It's kind of like it kind of is like reminiscent of like Darth Vader or something when he meets, you know, like when he like reveals himself to Luke Skywalker. Because I don't know, he like tries to get the turtles to join him, you know, and then like they refuse, and then he just turns on them or whatever. But it's kind of funny that backstory is like he drops it on him like it's nothing.
Yeah. And then he's like, fine, here's my own mutants. And then Bebop and Rocksteady run out and just hit each other and knock themselves out.
Yeah. All that hard work, and that's what Shredder gets.
And there's like a really fast scene. They kick some Foot Clan and cut down Splinter and just escape.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Like when they escape and they get, you know, they finally get above ground, and that leads to kind of like the real face-off. That's actually a pretty cool scene. I really like when they fight Rocksteady Bebop and like really take them on. It's really reminiscent to me of like other 80s cartoons that came before that, as far as like Bebop's like laser gun, like the way it looks and like how it fires. And it kind of reminds me of like the G.I. Joe laser weapons and stuff like that. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah. They basically just locked them in a cage at the zoo. Call them stupid and dummies.
But it looks like the exact same place that they came from.
Yeah. April shows up, shoots some footage of them, and then they just pretty much leave. The end of the episode is just the little robot freeing them, Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah, it's kind of like, that's the one thing I noticed when I watched that episode is that that robot, you know, whatever those robots are, there's only one of them there at the end, but there's like two through a lot of the scenes. Those things like manhandle everything except for the turtles. Like they're able to take on a full-size rhino, then they catch Splinter like it's nothing, and they do all these different things, and then the first time that they face off with the turtles just pretty much just like kick them in a hole like it's nothing. Like they're only effective against every single thing except for turtles.
I remember them in the video games too. They popped up in the Technodrome.
Oh yeah, that's right, like the arcade style game. Yeah, that's where I remember seeing them a lot. Because they use those lassos, and if they catch you, they like electrocute you. Yeah, I forgot all about that.
That's pretty much the episode. What do you think of it?
I really liked it. You know, it's got some kind of corny, cheesy moments that really kind of add to it. But as a whole, it's a really important episode, to like the mythology as far as like telling the backstory. And I guess these first 5 episodes are all kind of like that. Like they're real concise. There's a lot of story going on, but still, it's a really strong episode. I like how many different characters are introduced and how much information's in there. It's really awesome.
Yeah, it's a pretty good episode.
Yeah.
I also like how he only needed 2 people to make mutants, even though he had like, was it 5 or 6 guys there?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, what happened to the other guys? It's like, did he just like, leave them in there? They're just still in there playing cards or something, or what?
The episode after this, you get to meet Baxter Stockman.
Yeah, I know. That's awesome. You'll have to invite me back for one of these, especially if you do the one where the Baxter fly. That's one of my favorite characters.
I forget where he comes in.
I think it's around season 2, but I don't know. It's not very far away, but yeah, that's one of my favorite villains.
Man, no doubt we'll have to talk about that. Well, if that's mentioned in the comic book version.
Yeah, like night and day difference.